Well, can't have a YouTube channel about guns without doing at least one review on a Glock. This is my Gen 3 Glock 17. Alright, so why is this particular handgun important to me? It's the Glock 17. You've heard the review many times before. Well, at the end of the day, this is my very first handgun, or was my very first handgun. And I'm sure, like most of you out there, you looked at a Glock 17 or a Glock as your first handgun, even if it wasn't. And that's because they're one of the most popular handguns worldwide. Why are they? Well, they were developed in the early 80s, 1980, I believe, or 82, the Austrian Army adopted them. And today they're found throughout the world in law enforcement, military, and of course, everyday Joes down in the United States and here in Canada. What makes a Glock 17? Well, Glock 17, if you don't know, the 17 or the numbers in all Glocks actually has nothing to, it has what to do what number patent was submitted. So this is the 17th patent that they submitted. This is their most popular firearm, this and the Glock 19 out of their entire range. Shoots 9mm or 9x19 parabellum. What makes Glock, so popular? Well, first of all, it's one of the first striker fires to really hit the market. What is a striker fire? Well, it's technically a double action pistol. The striker process goes inside the back here, so you're going to see that there is no hammer. It's polymer, which means on the bottom it's pretty much plastic, and on the top you're running on a steel frame. So, sorry, without the steel frame. A couple of the other reasons next to its complete reliability. So when this went through the original test, it did over 20,000 rounds without having any original wear issues, which is massive. Myself, I can attest to that. I've probably done, not probably, I have done over 10,000 rounds on this particular handgun itself, and it still hasn't failed on me once. The Glock 17, this is the Gen 3. You're gonna notice a few things a little bit different throughout the models. So we're now, it's pretty tough to get a Gen 3 anymore, but just to give you a comparison's sake, or if you have the opportunity to buy one used, they go all the way up to the Gen 5. The main differences that you're gonna find is obviously they use a little bit different coatings for the barrels, or sorry, not for the barrels, for the actual system itself. They have rounded, so it's a little bit less square than the Gen 5s are a little bit less square than these ones. They have removable back straps, so you can choose different things. The triggers have been upgraded and the barrels have been upgraded on all of them. They all have target barrels now. So if you were to shoot this versus a Gen 5, you're gonna notice that a lot of it is very similar, but the newer ones, like anything else, are obviously a little bit better. That being said, is this a great gun for protection, a great gun to go plinking with? 100%. You're not going to be disappointed. And if you can get a great deal on it, I would jump on it. I know I've mentioned it before, this isn't my favorite handgun anymore. I would more lean, if I could, carry towards the CZ P10C or maybe a heavily modified Glock 19, but this is a great handgun. A couple of the things that you can still do with this versus getting something. So if you are looking to get maybe a Gen 3 versus a Gen 5 and you want to put that extra money into upgrading it, that might not be a bad idea as well. Because one of the biggest upsides of a Glock period is the fact that you can get everything aftermarket for it. I mean, on my previous video with the CZ P10C, I said you don't have to get any aftermarket, which I still agree on that particular firearm, but it is really cool that you can get optics ready milled slides, you can get stippling for it, upgraded triggers, new barrels, multi-toned, everything like this thing. There isn't a part or piece in this firearm that you can't get aftermarket, which is kind of cool. The ability to have that really allows you to customize what you like. So what are some of the things next to the reliability like I like about this gun? Well, one, it's very light. For the size that it is, myself, I have extra large hands like I've mentioned before, so the Glock 19 is a little bit small. The CZ P10C fits a little bit better, but I really like the grip of the 17. If I were to go with anything, it would be maybe a Glock 45 or a 19X, which with the shortened front slide with like the Glock 19 slide parameters. So what are some of the things, like I was mentioning, that I like about it? Is the light. I like the fact that it's very ergonomic. Myself, and I know a lot of people kind of hate on it, but personally I actually like it. The ergonomics a little bit better than a 1911. 1911 has a little bit more of a straight up and down grip. I actually like the lean forward. It allows me to really reach out, and it allows me to keep the muzzle flip lower. I don't know. For myself, I personally feel that this is a more comfortable firearm to shoot than a 1911. 1911 trigger and the fact that it weighs more, etc. There's a lot of ups to that, but myself, I like shooting the Glock 17. What are the detriments of this particular handgun? I would say two big ones right off the hop are the sights. The sights suck. You know, it's very difficult. They're pretty thick and fat, and I haven't changed them just because I've moved on to other firearms and I don't shoot it as often anymore, but I still enjoy doing it. And the other biggest thing I would say is the trigger. The trigger really is pretty mushy on this one. Well, let's take a look. All right, so you're coming to a definite wall, which is pretty nice, but it is squishy. Yeah, and you got definitely, it's kind of like a springy squish at the very end of it. It's not crisp, it's not clear. The good thing is Glocks, even from the beginning and the get-go, I mean, this is not the Gen 1 or 2, but this is still one of the earlier predecessors. It still has a pretty audible reset on it, which is nice. And it's a short reset. Yeah, still pretty good. If you compare it to a newer model or newer generation or, you know, CZ, like I said before, it's still not going to be as strong as that. But keep in mind, I've got over 10,000 rounds on this particular firearm. It is an older model. This is the first firearm I've had. I've really used it, put tons and tons of rounds in it. If you're looking for a Glock 17, check out, and you can get something a little bit older like this for a really good price point. You're not going to be disappointed. I don't want to discourage anybody from doing that, but I would look at more down the line of a newer Gen 5 MOS, so you can put an optic ready sight on it. You really are going to notice a little bit difference on the triggers. Really, just go out there, enjoy your firearm. That's all I really got for this one. I just want to kind of show you guys the Glock that I do have. I obviously have the 10mm as well. That one's a beast of a cannon. At the end of the day, guys, thank you so much for watching my review. Comment, submit some more reviews. Hit that little notification thing right around here or here. Subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you at the next review.